Welcome everyone. So for this special practice, we don't need any props, but all you'll need for this practice is someone to practice with. So this is my fiance, Scott. So grab your partner, and usually when no, I don't like that. Okay. Sorry, Baber. Welcome to my life. Welcome everyone. So for this special practice, you don't need any props, but what you will need is someone to practice with. So this is my fiance, Scott, and usually when we lead this partner yoga practice, it's a lot of demonstration and then you trying it out on your own. So today, as we move, we'll do that, but then we'll also give you a chance to pause the video so that you can try and figure things out on your own. And most importantly, let's have some fun. So grab your partner and make your way onto the mat, and we're going to start sitting on the ground back to back. And then close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, just start to connect to your own breath in and out through your nose. Use the breath to just help you settle in. And see if you can feel the breath of your partner without trying to sync the breath or anything like that. Just see if you can feel it. And as you breathe, take the time now to relax into your partner's back. So lean back. Get comfortable with that touch. Let's take just a couple more breaths just to settle in. Feel that heat from your partner's back. Soften your shoulders, soften your neck. Let's all take a deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale out the mouth. Do that again. Breathe with your partner. Inhale. Out the mouth, exhale. Find your breath in and out through the nose again, and flutter your eyes open. Our first partner activity here is we're going to link elbows. So find your partner's elbows by your side and link your arms. And then step your feet out in front of you. Okay. So we want to create the action of pressing the feet down and kicking the feet slightly forward as we really lean back into our partner's back, and at the same time press down as you lean back to stand on up. So go for it. Hopefully that went well. Pause if it didn't and try it again. It's all about the leaning back and the press of the feet in order to rise up with the legs. Yeah? We're going to continue to get into the legs here as we warm up for our acro positions. So starting with a little bit of a chair twist with the partner. So stand nice and close to each other and then grab opposite wrists with hands. So left hand to their left wrist, right hand to their right wrist. And then bend your knees and reach your bum back, keeping your chest lifted. Nice. Think about leaning the shoulders back, but without caving the chest in. Yeah, exactly. And then we'll keep a hold of the left hand to the left wrist, release your right hand, and then turn slowly to your right. So turn the chest to the right, reach the right hand back, lean back away from your partner, and then we'll come back to center. So find the right wrist with the right hand, and then do the opposite. So reach the left hand to the side and lean back, bend your knees. We'll come back to center, left hand to left wrist, find the right again, so twist, open, turn the chest, lean back. Come back to center. Last time, twist away. Nice. And then come back to center, stand up at the same time. Awesome. So legs are a little warmer. Core is engaged. We've been twisting a little bit. So now we're going to get into what's called bone stacking. So bone stacking is basically what it sounds like. And the idea here is to find muscular efficiency as we're trying to balance, especially when we're balancing another body on ours. So stand on one foot for a moment where you are and try to feel that side of the pelvis line up on top of the knee, on top of the ankle, on top of the foot. And then what happens when we take that stacking away? So when we move the pelvis to the side, all of a sudden, our muscles have to work a lot harder to stabilize that position, right? Same goes when we're stacking with a partner. So we're gonna start with something called double plank, and I'm gonna be the base and he's gonna be the flyer. But for this one, it's kind of interchangeable who can be what part, what role. So the bottom person's always gonna be the base, the person on top's gonna be called the flyer. So I'm gonna start setting up. We'll demonstrate it first. We'll do it a second time where you can join us, and then with an opportunity to pause and try it on your own. So I'm gonna start setting up in plank pose. Feeling my shoulders stack over my hands, my heels stack over my toes. And then Scott's gonna stand over me, straddling me, facing my feet. He's gonna use my heels as his ground for his hands. So bring your hands to my heels, or ankles, kind of. You'll have to feel that out for yourself. And then he's gonna step 1 foot at a time onto my shoulder blades. And then he's gonna press his feet down into my shoulder blades to press my hands down and stack his feet over my hands so that my arms don't have to work as hard. And then he's pressing down with his hands so that my feet stabilize with his arms, bone stacking. And then to come out, he's gonna step 1 foot off at a time and then stand up, and I'll lower my knees and maybe take a little break. Yeah? So let's try it all together. Ready for a second go? Great. Plank pose. So I'll be the base again. I'll set up for my plank. He's gonna face the other way, so face my feet and bring his legs to straddle my body. Bring his hands down to my ankles/heels, and then step his feet onto my shoulder blades. And then he's gonna think about pressing his feet into my shoulder blades, which helps to stabilize my arms. He's gonna think about pressing his hands into my heels or ankles, and that's gonna stabilize my feet. And then he'll step 1 foot off at a time. And stand up, and then I'll drop my knees and rest, yeah? So if you need to pause and try it again, or if you wanna switch partners, you can pause and do that now. Otherwise, we're gonna start to set up for our acro positions, our acro poses. So a couple things with acro yoga is that the first one is safety, right? So it's all about communication. So talk it out, take the time to talk it out and to figure it out together, because we both need to feel safe in order to find those positions of flight. So the other one is that we want to have a safe word for ourselves. So if Scott ever needs to come down as the flyer, he can just say down, and then I'll let him down as gracefully as possible. And usually when we're trying to figure out the roles, like who's gonna be the base, who's gonna be the flyer, the base is usually the one who's heavier. Just for logistics, it's just easier to fly someone when they're lighter than you. But play it out, like you can interchange the roles sometimes. So I'm gonna be the base for these positions, and Scott's gonna be the flyer. And as the base, he's gonna be balancing on my feet. I wanna think about straightening my legs as fast as I can to get him into that flight position and to find that bone stacking of his pelvis over mine. And I'll show you what that means in a second. And he is going to think about keeping his back engaged, almost like spinal extension throughout, and almost locking, I don't like using that word, but keeping his elbows really straight the whole time. So the first thing we're gonna do is just a weight transfer, just a simple weight transfer to find the position of the feet and to get the flyer and the base comfortable with receiving and giving body weight. So I'm gonna bring my feet to the front of his pelvis. So my toes are on his lower abdomen, my heels are across his hip flexors or the tops of his quads. And then I'm gonna set my hands up so that my arms are straight, my hands are stacked over my shoulders, and my fingers are gonna be turned out to the sides. Scott's gonna have his hands set up the exact same way, but with his fingers facing forward or facing up, and my fingers are gonna be facing the sides. All we're gonna do, he's gonna keep his feet on the ground. I'm gonna bend my knees into my belly and my chest, take his body weight like a plank. His body's gonna be in plank, and then I'm gonna push him back. And we'll start by just tapping the hands together. So go ahead, I'll start to bend my knees. Keep your chest lifted, the flyer, keep looking forward. Yep. And then I'm gonna press my feet back, and he'll come back to his feet. We're gonna do that one more time. Go ahead and bend your knees, the base. Flyer looks forward, and then it's up to me. He's gonna keep his chest lifted. I'm gonna press him back with my feet, yeah? So go ahead and set up, and we're gonna do that 2 times together. So as the base, lie down. Place your feet onto your partner's, the flyer's, pelvis so that the toes are above the pelvis. See how they're kind of on his lower abdomen? And then my heels are at the tops of his thighs. Figure that out for a moment. Notice where he's standing in relation to my bum. And let's go for it. So I'm going to bring my arms up, fingers out. He's going to reach his arms forward, fingers up. And then he's going to keep his chest lifted. I'm going to start to bend my knees. Bring him in slowly. Knees in. Bend the knees a lot. And then kick the feet back as the base. And he's going to let me press him back. See how his chest stays up the whole time. Let's do it one more time. And you can let the hands tap. Boop. And then press back up. Nice. Awesome. Rest. Take a moment to rest. We're going to demonstrate the next progression, which is going into bird pose. And so when he connects his hands to my hands as the base, try not to grip your fingers just so that they can easily release the hand if they need to come down. As the flyer, he can think about gripping my hands and creating that solid foundation so that he can stack shoulders on my shoulders. Yeah? And then now what's going to happen is once we have that and my knees are in my chest, I'm going to think about kicking my feet straight up and trying to straighten my legs as fast as I can so we can find that bone on bone stacking, his pelvis over mine. So we'll demonstrate once and then we can try it all together. My hands are turned out, his fingers are forward. I'm going to bend my knees, he's going to come forward, we're going to connect hands, he's going to grip, and I'm going to press my feet into his pelvis. And so I've straightened my legs, and then I find that sweet spot where I really feel his pelvis stacked over mine, which is right about here. And because I found that sweet spot with my legs straight, my legs are really not working that hard. It's just about balance, just that bone stacking principle. And then to come out, I'm going to bend my knees. He's going to reach his feet for the ground and stand on up. Stick the landing, yeah? So let's give it a try. So come into the position, set up the same way we did with the weight transference. My feet are going to be on the front of his pelvis, toes on his lower abdomen, heels on his quads. My arms are straight up, fingers out. His arms are straight forward, fingers up. I'm going to start to take him in, so I'm going to bend my knees. We're going to connect hands. He can grip, I'm not going to grip, and then press the feet into the pelvis. Straighten your legs as fast as you can for the base. And notice how he doesn't bend his elbows. Show them what would happen if you bend your elbows. His chest would start to lower, and then I have to start to muscle to keep him up, yeah? See the bones stacking. Beautiful. And then I'm going to bend my knees, and he's going to reach his feet for the ground, and then come up. One progression, or no, we're not going to do the progression of that one. We're going to do the next pose. So give that one another try, and then we're going to do a little bit of a different setup with the feet. So feel free to pause. Unless you feel really successful with that one, continue going. We're going to set up for leaf pose. So my feet are going to be turned out this time. So we can just show that a little bit to the front. It's more like that position, so it really frames kind of the front edges of the pelvis so that he has a little bit more room in the lower abdomen to hinge forward once he's up. And we'll show you what we mean. So this one's leaf pose. So same setup, just my feet are turned out, so different position of the feet. I'm going to reach my hands up, fingers out. His fingers are forward. So I'm going to bend my knees and receive his weight as he leans forward, and then press him up again. So he's widening his legs a little bit more this time. And if anything, the flyer is going to think about bringing the toes slightly down. Yep. And then I'm going to pull his torso down. He's going to fold forward over my feet. Now, for the first time, he can bend his elbows as I guide his hands behind his head, connect the heels of the hands, the palms of the hands. He's going to keep his hands there, and then I'm going to hold on to his elbows as I press my feet into his pelvis. I'm going to use my hands to pull the elbows down towards the mat. helping to create a bit of traction for him here and a bit of a nice stretch into the lats and the undersides of the shoulders. And then one thing that you can play with here, so as the base, I would bring my hands to his shoulders now, and he's going to bend his knees and bring his heels in towards his bum, and then reach his hands for his shins, coming into like a Balasana, child's pose in the air. Yep. And then I might even be able to relax my arms down. And then to come out, I'll find his shoulders. He'll release his hands from his shins, nice and slow transitions. He'll widen his legs out again. And then he's going to find my hands with his hands and then straighten his elbows, lifting his chest, engaging his back. And then I'm going to bend my knees. He's going to reach his feet for the ground and stick the landing. So let's get set up and we'll do it all together. And then we can pause and try it either with the opposite partner or just play around a little bit with those transitions that we offered. So let's set up again. So leaf pose, feet turned out. So heels in, toes out. Find that first. And then we'll start to set up. So I'll bring my arms out, his fingers are forward. As the base, I'm not going to grip when he comes forward. I'll bend my knees, he can grip, and I'll kick. So first, we'll start with the position of straightening the arms with the chest lifted. Find that, widen the legs for the flyer, maybe even toes down. This looks great. And then from here, we'll start to pull the torso down. Keep the legs where they are. I'm going to start to bring his hands behind his head. He can bend his elbows. Heels of the hands connect. He's going to keep his palms together, and I'm going to grab his elbows, and I kick my feet into his pelvis, pull the elbows closer to me. So this is leaf. And then if you want to try flying Balasana, I'm going to bring my hands. The base is going to hold the shoulders of the flyer. He's going to start to bend his knees. The flyer brings the heels towards the bum and reaches their hands for their shins or ankles. And notice how his spine flexes more. His head comes towards my legs. He rounds in. And then maybe the base can relax the hands down. Breathe. And then to come out, the base finds the shoulders of the flyer. The flyer releases their hands from their shins, widening their legs. And then the flyer will find the base's hands with their hands and straighten their elbows, lifting the chest. And then the base is going to bend their knees as the flyer reaches their feet for the ground. Lovely. Nice. Feel free to pause and play with that. Rewind, go through it again if you need. The next one is a little bit trickier, I would say, for the flyer because it incorporates a little bit more trust of the base. So let's see how that goes. The flyer is going to face away. So this is flying bow pose. So he's going to be coming into an Urdhva Dhanurasana shape, so an upward facing bow on my feet. So the flyer needs to just make sure that their back is nice and warm for a pretty deep back bend before coming into this one. And the setup, as you can see, is he's facing away patiently. And I'm going to bring my feet onto his bum. But we want to start with his heels closer to my bum than we have been. So his feet are closer to me than they normally have been for the other poses. Nice. And so the element of trust for him is when he starts to lean back. Don't do that just yet. He's going to start to lean back and reach the backs of his shoulders back, and I'm going to grab the tops of his shoulders with my hands. First, he has to get a little bit lower to the ground. So I'm going to ask the flyer to go ahead and bend your knees. Yep. And then start to find your back bend, reaching your shoulders back. Yep. And then from here, nice and slow, I'm going to start to kick my feet into his bum, straighten my legs as fast as I can so we can find that bone stacking of pelvis on pelvis, like we're doing now. So now in this deep back bend, what Scott can do as the flyer is he can bend his knees a little bit more, go nice and slow transitions, and reach his hands for his ankles. Nice. Hello. And then from here, what I can do as the base is give just a little bit of a nice gentle massage for the shoulders and upper traps. Now to come out, Scott's going to release his hands, nice and slow. Yep. I'm going to bend my knees and he's going to reach his feet for the ground. And once I feel his feet land, I'm going to give him a little bit of a kick up just to help him come out of the pose. Yeah? So let's give it a try. Set it up. So the flyer faces away now. As the base, I'm going to place my feet on his bum, and the flyer is going to walk closer to me. Yep. Okay. And then Scott's going to start to bend his knees. I'm going to have my hands right here, so he knows my hands are there to receive his shoulders. So that as he bends his knees and reaches his shoulders back for my hands, I can grab them as soon as I can, and then I'm going to kick my feet up into his bum and stack his pelvis on mine. There, now it's stacked. So my muscles of the legs can relax a little bit. And then he's gonna bend his knees, slow transitions, reaching one hand at a time for his ankles. Yeah. Nice. Breathe, and the base can give a little bit of a massage for the flyer here in the shoulders. And then the flyer can release their hands nice and slow. And as I bend my knees, he's going to reach his feet for the ground. And I'll give him a little push-up. Nice. Feel free to pause. Feel free to try it again. Feel free to switch. One more acro pose for us to try today. This one's called whale pose. Similar, the flyer is going to be in a back bend, but a totally different setup. So Scott's going to come and he's actually going to step his feet to either side of my head and face that way above my head. Yeah. My hands are going to be on his ankles. So from here, what we need to do as the base, I need to lift my legs and I need to tuck my tail and actually lift my low back off the ground in order for my toes to connect with his back. And then from there, he's going to start to come into a little back bend his knees. Yep. So that the soles of my feet come onto his upper back. Now I start to kick my feet into his upper back as I lift his feet off the ground with my hands on his ankles. I'm going to straighten my arms. And as I do that, I'm thinking about pulling his feet above my head and pressing his shoulders away from me with my feet. And then Scott can play with the positioning of his arms. Nice. Then to come out, I bring his feet to the ground, and then he can do the rest. Yeah? So let's give that a try. So base set up on the ground. Flyer sets up standing so that their feet are on either side of my ears. I'm going to hold onto his ankles, and then the base is going to lift their legs up and lift your bum up enough so that the toes can connect to the back. And then he's going to start to bend his knees and lean back into my feet so that my low back can connect to the ground again. Then I kick my feet into his upper back and lift his feet with my hands on his ankles. I straighten my arms and I create that traction effect again by pressing my feet, my heels into his upper back and pulling his heels, trying to pull them above my head. And then Scott, as the flyer, nice and slow transitions, can play around with the positioning of his arms, enjoying the deep back bend. Find one more breath. As the base, guide the feet of the flyer back by your face, and then kick the feet, and the flyer can stand up. Nice. Feel free to pause. Feel free to try that one more time. And then to close, we're going to come and we're going to sit with our knees touching. So face your partner, knee to knee, and we'll find a twist. So with your right hand, grab your partner's right knee so that the arm crosses the body. And then with your left fingers, bring the fingers to the ground for now behind your bum, and then use that to help pull the back of the left shoulder behind you. Turn your head over your left shoulder and twist your chest to the left. Either staying here or bringing the left forearm behind your back, bending the elbow, And then looking for your partner's hand behind their back, reach your right hand for their hand behind their back. And once you connect that, lean your shoulders away from your partner, turn the left shoulder back, so pull the back of the left shoulder back again, and twist your head over the left shoulder. One more breath. And then release the grip of your hands and untwist to face your partner. And from here, we'll find the other side. So left arm crosses over, and your left hand will find their left knee. And start with your right fingertips to the ground behind your bum, and use the fingertips to help leverage the twist. Pull the right shoulder back, turn the chin over the right shoulder. Feel free to stay, or bend your right elbow and bring the forearm to the back of the hand to the back, and then maybe look for your partner's hand behind their back and reach your left hand for that hand. And then once you connect, try to pull the shoulders away a little bit and pull the back of the right shoulder back as you turn your chest to the right. And take one more deep breath together. And then untwist, release the hands, and face your partner. And just to close, from here, what we can do is you can place your right hand on the left side of their chest. And then you can place your left hand on top of their hand. And close your eyes and just take a moment to connect. Can you feel their breath? Can you feel their heartbeat? Close your eyes and send your partner some gratitude here. Thank them for supporting your practice, for showing up for themselves, but also showing up for you. Take a breath together, so inhale together. And exhale out the mouth. Open your eyes and see your partner and share with them a namaste. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you were able to have some fun today. We did. It's always a fun practice to do with someone. So let me know how it goes. Maybe leave a comment and let me know how your practice is, and maybe we'll do another one of these at some point in time. But happy practicing nonetheless.